today I will be covering chapter 2, mainly chapter 2, okay? And in chapter 2, actually, there will be a part which I think most likely will come out in the exam, and I feel like maybe you all will struggle with it. So I will cover that with you guys. Today, my focus will be on chapter 2, but specifically 2.2. Okay, so what's a 2.2? 2.2 actually is this subtopic where they talk about penyata kewangan. Your teacher mentioned that there will be chapter 7 coming out in your exam, just know that chapter 7 is the same as the topic in 2.2. Okay, so I will be using this 2.2 to cover chapter 7 for you. Right, so now we move on to page 27, and this is the question we are going to do in the May seminar. Okay, right, so page 27. What is this? Yeah, I'm showing you. This is the example of subtopic 2.2, otherwise also known as bab 7. It is called the PENYATA KEWANGAN. So if your school teacher say, oh, we are doing chapter 7, don't worry, it's the same as chapter 2.2. So I'm covering it overall for all of you guys. Even if your teacher did not say chapter 7, you also will have this because it's in 2.2, okay? So you have to prepare for it. What exactly is a PENYATA KEWANGAN and the usage of it? So you see, now they have given you all informations of Perniagaan Jiaxi of 31st July 2024. So they give you an entire year of informations in the list right now. Okay, of course, in the list, they will cover every single classifikasi, that is asset, liability, EP, hasil, and belanja, all within the list. Now, it's a bit difficult because now they only put one RM without splitting them into debit or credit. So you have to actually recognize the terms in order to know which kind of category they sit in. Okay, so now I will teach you what to do for preparation. Whenever they give you this kind of question, best is you split the list into a few sections. So it's easier for you to look for numbers as well. And we can see which section we haven't used yet. So I usually will split them by every 5 items. Okay, so you go by this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We will draw a line. Is that okay? So you split them by sections first so we can be more organized. So right now, let's talk about what's chapter 7 or subtopic 2.2. Now, penyata kewangan is the terms that they show you down here. Anda dikehendaki menyediakan account perdagangan dan untung rugi penyata kedudukan kewangan. Now, I believe you guys should recognize the B, which is penyata kedudukan kewangan. We just mentioned about them earlier. It's also in your chapter 2, correct? But the only difference now is both of them are now requested in bentuk penyata. Okay, now the meaning of penyata. Penyata means statement. Okay, a statement will not have left and right side. A piece of statement should go from the top till the end. So how it looks like is it will come with columns by the right side for you to put numbers. Is that okay? So no matter for your A or your B, you will be using the right side to fill up with numbers, and none of them are left or right side. They are just columns that represents RM. Okay, now if you ask me, among these 3 RMs, which one is the main one? Answer is the third one on the right hand side is the main column. So you can see what? You can see the first 2 columns as a backup. Whenever I need to split my items, I will go to the first 2. But if there is no need to split, I will always be using the main column. So that is how it works, okay? So I usually will assign them by column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. So the sequence goes by how you usually put 1, 2, and 3 lah, guys, okay? We don't purposely change the sequence. You do as per normal. So even here also, we use it the same way. And now, just to let you know the concept of the columns first, okay? I would say you understand it as a staircase method. Okay, now I'll be drawing a staircase for you, okay, using just 3 steps because we only have 3 columns, correct? Now, since the third column is the main one, so we will start drawing from the third step until the first. So it will be like this: 1, 2, 3. So 3, 2, 1 is how we label. Okay, because from the left to the right, 1 to 3, so left to right, 1 to 3. And of course, the stairs won't end here. The stairs will continue downwards again, but eventually you will see it coming back to the third column again. Okay, so that's how you use your staircase basically. Let me write over here. So you will go by sequence from 3 to 2 to 1 and slowly come back to 3 again in the end. Okay, so you tell yourself that no skipping. No skipping. If you skip, you will fall down, okay? So you will do wrongly. That's why here, the concept of no skipping is, can I be using third column? Suddenly, I go to the first column? No. If you want to go by sequence, if you're in the third column, now, as we move in front, you can only go to the second, okay? Now, from the second step, can you go to the first one? Yes, you can go to the first one. But if you do not want to go to the first one, can I go back to the third? Yes, because they are nearby, okay? So we don't jump. It's always the nearest one that you would move around. So it's from to the left or to the right, okay? So the third one, second one. And then slowly come back to the second, to the third again. So this is how it looks like in your format itself. No matter it's the first one or the second one, they work the same way, okay? Yeah. So how do you know whether we should move in front? Ayo, sorry, I don't know why my pen suddenly have so many things come out, okay? Only move to the left. Only move to the left, which means to the second or the first column, if needed, to group things separately. Which means that now this group of numbers are supposed to be separated from the other group. So I will go to the front. But if there is no need to separate anymore, I would want to combine them. Then they will come back and meet each other in the same column. Is that understandable, guys? Up to here. So how you use the column is from the right to the left, from the left back to the right again. Okay, right to left, left to right. So it comes back to the third column eventually. So your final answers all must be seen on the third column. Only the third column. So all your second column and first column numbers are all just a process. They are not the final answers yet. Okay, and now let us talk about the format itself. Inside of it, what is the content? So in part A, it's called the account perdagangan dan untung rugi. So just for your information, you can note down that the other name of this part A is called the PENYATA pendapatan. Okay, it's called the PENYATA pendapatan. Now, a lot of people don't know, but this is actually the old syllabus. And why should I mention the old syllabus to you when it's now all become new already? So I say it's because I see in SPM, they purposely come up with PENYATA pendapatan. So I don't know. I would say there are chances for your school teacher to make the question like this to you as well. So if you ever see PENYATA pendapatan, please know that it's the same as account perdagangan dan untung rugi. Is that okay? So they are just different names, but the format is the same. Okay, now this part A, our task from part A is to do hasil, tolak belanja, so we can get the result of untung atau rugi. Okay, but untung or rugi comes in 2 stages, kasah and bersih. So what you must know is the kasah version versus the bersih version. Obviously, the bersih one is the final answer. So you can be earning money at the first stage, which is kasah, untung kasah. But is it guaranteed that you will have untung bersih in the end as well? No. Maybe you can begin with untung kasah, but ends up rugi bersih. So the intention of having 2 stages is so for my boss to understand where is the problem. Okay, because sometimes my sales is so good. I am earning ₦1,000,000, but turns out in the end, I am having a kerugian. Rugi bersih 10,000. So what went wrong? Is it that my expenses is too much? But which kind of expenses is too much right now? I need to know, right? So hasil, we have to split into two groups, okay? So account perdagangan here is focusing on dagang, means to do trading, while untung rugi is for the rest of the hasil and belanja. So now, of course, I cannot straight away begin with the question because you all haven't known to see the full format yet. So right now, before we start the page 27, I would like to go to the format page and explain everything to you, okay? So please look at format page 9. I've prepared it for you already. Page 9. Can you find? Yeah, I repeat again. So this page 9 here is a subtopic 2.2. It is also chapter 7. Okay, so right now, for this account perdagangan, dagang stands for trade. Untung rugi is for the rest of hasil belanja. Okay, so usually when it is meant for trading part, right, I will make you guys label the sections item as AP. AP stands for account perdagangan in short form, okay? So I will go to the question and look for AP related items to label so we can organize them into the format. While for the rest of hasil and belanja, these are the expenses or income that is not directly related to our products. So you see, if I open a restaurant, my income should come from selling food, right? So if I tell you now that the income is, oh, I received discount from a supplier, this discount is not directly related to my food, correct? So it's a discount given extra from another person. That's why we consider them to the back part of hasil dengan belanja. So the label for this back part is H circle for hasil, B circle for belanja. Is that all right? So we will give them a different label. If it's for the account perdagangan, we put AP. Hasil belanja for the rest, which is unrelated to your product, then we put the symbols this way. Okay, and now the section goes like this. Account perdagangan will only begin from jualan until untung kasar. Is that okay? So from jualan until untung kasar. Meanwhile, account untung rugi, which is the later part, will begin from untung kasar until untung bersih. So they overlap, of course. That's why you need the answer from the top part to connect to the later parts, okay? So to be very honest with you, the bottom part is no challenge at all. You just need to recognize the hasil and the belanja that's left inside of the question. The most challenging part is this middle section here, which a lot of students struggle with, okay? So I will let you know how you can remember the positions and so on, okay? Now, every section, no matter is the account perdagangan or the untung rugi, they will repeat the same thing 2 times. Hasil minus belanja. Hasil minus belanja. For 2 times, that is how you get your untung ataupun rugi. Kasar dengan bersih. So, the section that represents hasil for the account perdagangan is jualan until jualan bersih. Okay, now you guys see that there is a negative symbol beside the pulangan jualan, right? Do you know why it's a negative to jualan? Because a lot of people don't know about it, okay? So pulangan stands for what? Return of sales. So at first, right, I said, okay, this is the sales that we have. I get to sell 100K, let's say. That's my sales. But throughout the year, I also had customers who were dissatisfied with my product. So they returned 10,000 worth of it back to me. Did I get to sell this 10,000? Actually, we didn't get to sell them. So if I didn't get to sell them, of course, my sales cannot be shown 100,000, correct? I have to change it to become 90,000. So that's exactly the reason why when your jualan needs to go through changes, you need to give it a new name that is called the jualan bersih. Okay, so question is right now, guys, if we do not have pulangan, Do you guys think you have to write jualan bersih once again? If there's no pulangan jalan, what should you do? If there's no pulangan jalan, these two rows will be avoided. Okay, why? Because any changes happen to your sales? No, then why do you want to write 2 times of the same number for me? Example, we got no pulangan jalan. Your sales is 100,000. You say, teacher, I want to write again. Then what? You put 100,000 again. Do you know what will happen? Later, you will think you have 200,000 because you write 2 times of it, ma. You're going to add together. But no, the concept of a jalan per se is only if there are any changes to your sales. If there's no changes, guys, this is already the bersih version. I don't need to mention it further. Okay, so the only reason why we had this layer is so because there are changes to it. Okay, right. So once you have done calculating your total sales, the final amount, it's time that we come into cost jualan. Okay, what's the meaning of cost jualan? In English, we call it cost of sales. Now, question is, now all these costs that you see within the section, must they be items that are sold or not sold? What do you guys think? If it's called cost of sales, must I sell them already or not sold yet also can? The cost here, does it include every single product or is it that the things only we get to sell? Now, the answer, guys, is sales stands for things you got to sell. So if you want to consider it as a cost of sales, you must make sure the products are sold. Okay? If you didn't sell, can you actually include them in the cost jalan? You cannot. Okay? So that's why here in your cost jalan, you mainly have 3 sections. That is called inventory awal, beginning amount of your inventory, belian, newly bought product, inventory RQ, the leftover stocks in the year. Okay, so you see your inventory RQ must be excluded. Why? Because I said it's called cost of sales. You must have already sold them to consider them as cost, right? If you didn't sell, do you include them in the cost? You don't. So that's why for inventory RQ, you have to exclude. Okay, so the process go by beginning amount. So these are from last year. Leftover stocks from last year. Leftover stocks from last year. And belian, newly purchased stocks. So you can understand it's new stocks lah, okay? So I just need to let you know that we have the old stocks, we also have the new stocks right now. But if I combine them, what you get is just the total of it. Can I conclude it as cost of sales? No, I have to make sure the leftover stocks this year is excluded. So that's why we will take the old plus the new, exclude the leftover. So that's why this is how you get your cost jualan. But of course, in between, there will be some calculations to be done as well lah. Because when you purchase something new, okay, you buy things from Shopee. What is it that the extra costs that will incur to you when you purchase something on Shopee? You have to pay shipping fee. You have to pay tax, correct? Sometimes there will be tax lah, okay? Because why the thing maybe come from China, come from another country, you will be taxed because of the imported goods, okay? So in that case, belian actually would come with extra expenses that we call by the name of AUDI. Over here lah, okay? The full name of the AUDI is angkutan masuk, upah, duty dengan insurance atas belian. So we just try to make it short form so you can remember easily lah. But to be honest, right, there are so many steps in here. Maybe you will feel like burning kepala when you try to memorize, okay? So what happens here is I usually will go by a foot to explain this section to you. The cost jalan, I always mention them as a burger format, okay? So why burger? Because you see, I draw to you, right? What is this two in your burger? This two is the bun, all right? So in between, there will be a patty, And also, of course, in the burger, you will see vegetables, you see tomato, you see cheese, okay? So this is a burger, where the full format is a burger, where the first two that I draw, they are the same things, right? Bun. So separate them to early layer, inventory hour. The last layer, inventory queue. So remember the start and the end, okay? So in between here, the most important component in your burger is the patty, so which we will see them as bouillon. So you see, if I don't like vegetables, I don't need the extra cheese or sauce. I will just tell them, saya nak burger dengan patty sahaja. So your burger will look like this. Right, okay, without any vegetables or no other things that are added, just the meat and the bun. So this is actually possible for them to be in the exam because sometimes they don't put additional stuffs. So you just need to do what? Inventory hour added with bouillon to get the total, and then you deduct the inventory RQ. This is how you get your cost jalan. Okay, but if let's say now they have added extra component, so this one's after the bouillon is considered the Audi. Okay, so you just remember the sequence of your cost jalan is inventory hour to start, bouillon, Audi, inventory RQ. So these four things are arranged in this manner. Okay, now can you ever put the Audi on top here? Never. Okay, so go by my burger style. I know you guys would say, teacher, sometimes I see the vegetable on top one ma. So that one is other people's burger lah, but my burger, all the vegetables at bottom of the bouillon. Okay, all right, so remember the sequence will go like that. Okay, now angkutan masuk, all those I will write explanation for you. Angkutan masuk is shipping fee. Upah is for salary, okay, workers. We can say labor fee lah. Because when you purchase a bulk amount, right? So of course I need labor to help me move them into my store. So we pay them labor fee to move the stuffs, okay? And then duty is tax. Insurance, I think you all know, but the requirement here is if they never say atas belian, you cannot choose to put under Audi. If it's just insurance itself, right, guys, where should you place your insurance? You should place them at the normal belanja. Why? Because when there is no atas belian mentioned, this insurance is only considered insurance of the store. So I buy it for the shop. I scared later got fire accident or stuff like that. So I buy insurance for the store itself or anything that's inside lah. But if you tell me specifically, it's an insurance for the purchase. It's just like how when you buy things on Shopee and Lazada, they will ask you if you want protection program or not. So if you take the protection program option, then you will be charged an extra fee just to make sure your products arrive safely to you. Okay, so insurance, if there is no atas belian, remember where to put it? Put it at the bottom belanja section. Okay, yeah? So right now, okay, how do you organize the position of your items into the columns? Remember I said the sequence is first column, second column, and the third column. You always start at the third column and the third column as well. Okay, start and end is at the third column. So the second and the first column, right, is used for processes, correct? So you see, this section here represents the actual jualan. Now, if I want to get untung or rugi, I must make sure jualan bersih get to deduct with cost jalan. But now, if I just started with inventory hour, have I found any cost yet? I haven't yet. So I have to go through like plus minus before I can get my cost jalan, right? So you understand the second and the first column is where we group our cost jalan. When we finally able to find the cost jalan out, then you will see it sitting on the third column, meeting with jalan bersih. So that is where you can JB tolak KJ, you get untung kasa atau rugi kasa. So you will never move your processes to the third column unless you finally found cost jalan. Understandable? So do not ever use the third column for any expenses except for final answer. So in the meantime, when I'm trying to group my burger, I will have to put on the second or the first column, right? So I teach you this, okay? Now you see, the bun and the burger meat and everything is supposed to be assembled separately. Why? Because your patty is raw. Can you just serve raw patty to your customers? Of course not. So I see your burger, right, will be like this. The bun, I will fry them together. So these two will use the second column. Okay, the start and the end will all be on the second column. Now, meanwhile, before I can assemble the patty and the vegetables, I will cook them separately, right? So separately, the patty, the vegetable, the tomato, the cheese, they will all be on the first column. Once these are done assembled, I will move it back here where your burger becomes one. So you see, the process is exactly the same. Inventory hour, inventory APUR, they are in the second column. When do I ever get to assemble a full burger? Is when the patty, the vegetable, the tomato and cheese are done assembled on the first column. Then the answer will come back here. Okay, can you all remember that? So your burger has how many layers? 4 layers. So the first layer and the last layer will be on the second column. But the second layer and the third layer must be assembled separately first. So what are those again? Repeat. The first section of your burger is inventory hour. Last section, inventory APUR. So second one here is the belian. Third one is AUDI. So that is how you arrange them. Okay, so once done, now the answer, I don't want to keep on the first column anymore, because if I keep them at the first column, can my burger be completed? Cannot. So that's why, before we even go with inventory APUR, when I move over, the first answer I will meet with is inventory hour. Can you see? So this one here, yeah, we call them by the name of cost belian. So you bracket belian sahaja. Now, the meaning of cost belian is the cost of purchase. So can I include the old stocks? We cannot, because the old stocks, right, I purchased them since last year. So there wouldn't be any extra expenses upon them. Then we say, talking about the newly purchased one, then of course there will be extra cost incurred on top of it. So here, why we separate the new and the old stocks is because all these angkutan, upah, and duty dengan insurance did not happen because of inventory hour. They happened because you buy new stocks. So that's why it's only fair that we group the expenses with the new ones together. So starting from belian until Audi, they will all be on the first column. So once we found the jumlah of it, then it will come back to the second column, where we take the old and the new to combine. Okay, old plus the new, here what we get is a total of stocks. But the thing is, it's a total of stocks. But did you sell all of them? We didn't, because this year we still have leftovers. So that's why you have to take the total of stocks, deducted the leftover, and that is where we consider that as your cost jualan. So you see, staircase one by one. So from the third to the second, second to the first, and come back to the second, to the third again. So staircase method completed. Now, so very important thing is the sequence of your account perdagangan. If you can get this right, then there should be no problem for you to answer at the bottom, because mainly it's just the upper section that you might get stuck. Okay, and I can tell you the maximum butil terms that you can use in your account perdagangan is 10. What are the 10 terms? I show you. First term, jualan. Second term, pulangan jualan. Third, inventory hour. Belian, pulangan belian, AUDI, inventory APUR. So these are the 10 terms you can find in the question. So what are the things you cannot find in question? Jualan bersih, belian bersih, cost belian, cost barang untuk dijual, cost jualan. Because all these are actually results from your plus or the minus. So that's why we actually will only see them when you are doing the format itself. Okay. And so here, a lot of people don't understand the plus and the minus. So why minus? Why plus? Mainly because this entire cost jualan section represents belanja. The entire section is belanja. So whenever I'm doing belanja, right, if it's related to getting the expenses increase, we will plus. But if it makes the expense decrease, then we will minus. Example, pulangan belian. What does it mean? I buy and I return the items back. If I return it, will my expenses increase? No, expenses will decrease. So that's why pulangan berlian, the effect to belanja is to make it lesser. But meanwhile, we say angkutan, upah, duty, and insurance. All these are extra costs on top of it. Of course, it will be affecting my belanja in a positive way. Okay, so we only deduct if it makes the belanja lesser, but otherwise, all is to be combined. Okay, so once we have gotten the hasil and the belanja group, then now it's time. Jualan bersih, tolak kos jualan, we get untung atau rugi kasar. So if you find penyata form difficult, right, trust me, it's already very direct because your answer, if it's positive, you show positive. Negative, you show negative. You don't have to move them around. If we're talking about a T shape, right, you have to go left side and right side. That is even more confusing. So penyata format, the answers are very direct. So if you get a positive, you will call that untung. If you see a negative, you call this rugi. Is that okay? So no changing of forms one. Positive means positive. Negative means negative. Don't have to change them. And now we will connect it to the bottom part where you see hasil and belanja to be added. So every time as you begin the section, you make sure you put a title first, plus hasil. So all things will be grouped on the second column. Belanja as well, grouped on the second column. So the reason why they won't be affected is because they don't mix up. Can you see that once I finish combining my hasil, I actually will draw a line here. So this line is to tell you that hasil is done. It has gone to the third column right now. I will combine it with the untung, okay? And then later, as I finish my belanja, I will also draw a line to state that it's done. I bring back to the third column where it will affect the untung or rugi in a negative way, okay? Kasa means it's a rough figure, so it's not finalized yet, just halfway, okay? Just halfway. So kasa is partial. We're not done yet. It's only partial of the answer. So if you want the final figure, then it's bersih. Final or full. So that's considered kasa bersih's explanation. I would say you can see it this way. Okay, yeah? Right. So now I will be showing you guys how you can answer your questions using this format. Okay, you have to memorize it actually. But if you find memorizing very difficult, my suggestion is you force yourself to write this upper section at least 3 times. You copy the full version of it. Now, of course, you can avoid the right side first. You just mainly focus on how the terms work, okay? Once you can remember the full version, however they miss out, let's say Audi, they only give you A or U. It doesn't matter, because as long as any one of them appear, then we will plus. So even if it doesn't comes out, then we don't add lah. So it's the concept of flexibility. You must know the full format in order to change the sequence of it. So if let's say there's lesser things, then of course your format become shorter. So we will go by the question. Okay, right. So now with example numbers given, we will do the full question of account perdagangan dan untung rugi together. So I need you to prepare calculator. Is that okay? Because we will calculate along lah. So now we come back to our page 27. Can you see this, yeah? Right, so first of all, I don't think you should rush into labeling every single one of them here because that will get so messy. Once you finish labeling, you don't know where, what to take, and so on. Now, I would say focus on only one section as of now. Which section is the most important and you cannot avoid? Account perdagangan. Because it's the first format in front. You cannot avoid, correct? So we have to do account perdagangan first, okay? Now, whatever that belongs to the account perdagangan will be labeled as AP. Is that okay? If you label AP, means that that is for account perdagangan. And I teach you how you can find them very quickly, okay? Now, account perdagangan is related to trading. Trade will be involving barang niaga. So the terms that we have for barang niaga are for inventory awal, inventory RQ, jualan, belian. These 4 is the main ones. I can have nothing else, but these 4 must always be that, okay? Now, after you look for these 4 already, you see if the jualan and the belian comes with pulangan jualan, pulangan belian or not. So that makes it 6 items already, okay? Now, we have another 4 more. That 4 is called A, U, D, I. So that makes it 10. Is that okay? So you always look for these 10 first. Okay, come. So we go to the list. First one, we look for inventory hour, inventory RQ. Can you see? Pada 1st August, pada 31st July, 2 different periods. So the one with the first is inventory hour. The one with the 31st, RQ. Now, maybe you guys think that they have mistakenly put the wrong dates, but no, these dates are normal because it started with 2023, August. Then, if I want it to be 12 months long, it will end on the next year, July. So, it's totally normal for the current question. Their tempo is 12 bulan, starting from August 2023, ends on next year, July. So, that is a full 12 months there. So, don't worry about the date. As long as you know, every time as it's a first, it's always our 31st RQ. Okay, so I will label beside of it AP. Okay, found it already. We have another 2 more important ones to look for. Jualan dengan belian. So, jualan. Belian. Does it come with pulangan? Yes, okay. On the same section, can you see also the pulangan? So, we will put AP, AP. But know that they are a pair, okay? Belian is with pulangan belian. Jualan is with pulangan jualan. Okay, so they are a pair. Belian, pulangan belian. Jualan, pulangan jualan. Of course, the effect is in a negative form because pulangan means you will return, but it's okay. We will decide that later. Okay, so then one more that is appearing here is this one here. Insurance, because it comes with the word atas belian, so it fits into our requirement of AUDI. Now, you guys remember that Audi stands for angkutan, upah, duty dengan insurance is a group, right? But is it necessary for me to always have all 4 of them? No, they can come up with one of it. It's fine. So if we see it, then we will take it. Okay, right? So total, how many things given that is related to AP? It's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you say, teacher, how sure are you that there are no more? Say, guys, the only possibility left is in your Audi, insurance came out already. You only can find A, U, and D. Do you see any angkutan masuk? Upah, duty? No, none of them. Okay, if it doesn't appear, means that there's nothing else for your AP already. So now, don't look for other things. Focus on arranging these 7 items into your format. Is that okay? Right, so same. This page 28 format, right? Actually, I prepare so that we can do it in class easily. But in exam, they will just give you a test pad paper. So what you're supposed to do is, you will draw the lines yourself, okay? So here is a title line that you draw. Draw the title line already. Then by the right side, you move 3 columns to the front. You make 1, 2, and 3. And that's all you need to draw. Is that okay? So your paper will just come with 4 lines in total. Yeah, just draw this. And then you can start writing the title. Just copy from the part A. Okay, copy the name as your title. Put down 3RM. Then you can begin already. Okay, so remind yourself in account perdagangan, the main point is to get jualan, tolak, cost jualan. Okay, we want to find out what is the untung or the rugi kasa. Now, once we found it, as we move on to untung rugi, we will plus hasil, that is the rest, minus belanja to get untung atau rugi bersih. Okay, someone's asking me how many marks is this, just writing the format. This one here, full mark, if it's under bahagian B, is 20 marks. So they will show it beside lah, 15 and 5. Okay, right. The format itself actually do give you marks, but not every single section because they will depend on whether the answer you found is correct to give you marks. So if the answer you provide is different, even the format is correct, you also cannot get the full marks. Okay, KJ is cost jualan. Short form, cost jualan. So because here, of course, I don't want to write the full names already because it will be so time consuming. So I'm telling you, it's called jualan, tolak, cost jualan. Sales minus cost of sales to get whether I earn money from selling the product or not, okay? And then proceed with the rest of the hasil and the belanja, income and expenses to see if I get untung or rugi per se, okay? Right, so now, let's begin. First thing, jualan comes in first. So, jualan. Can it be other things to start? No. always jualan. Cannot be other things, okay? So jualan must begin. So where's jualan? Look at your list. Jualan is 28,990. So I always say you start from the right to the left. Left back to the right. So right side, 28,990. This is the column where you put the answer. Okay, now jualan do come with a pulangan. So pulangan's effect is to make my sales lesser, because the customer returned to me. Of course, I will earn lesser lah. That's why here, it will be deducted from my jualan minus pulangan jualan. Now guys, if you ever notice that the pulangan given is in this name, masuk, is also equivalent to pulangan jualan. They are the same meaning, okay? So why? Because the reason is I sell, the product goes out. If the customer return to me, where would the product go? The product will come back in. So that's why it's called a pulangan masuk when it's being returned by my customers, okay? Right, so this return of sales to be deducted is 1160. So we will have to minus this out from my jualan. So how much is it that we actually get from sales after deducting? Throughout the year, our sales is only 27,830. So this is already confirmed as my final amount of jualan. So we call it jualan bersih. Okay, so after you are done with your jualan, this section will be occupying the third column. Okay, they will be there, fixed there. So now whatever steps you want to do coming, they will have to use the second column or the first column. That is what? That is our cost jualan, the burger format. Remember, just now I tell you guys, the burger. You want to do them where? You want to do them on the first column for the patty and the vegetable. The bun must come at the second column. So let's begin by writing the title first. Tolak cost jualan. Now this is to say I am about to start calculating, but do I have the final amount yet? I do not have it. So now I'm telling you the following section that we are doing plus minus is all for what? Is all to get the cost of sales. So we haven't done it yet, but I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so the title is necessary. You cannot be writing the steps without it. Okay, so title comes first. This row must be empty. Empty. Okay, so start with first layer. Inventory hour given to us is 1,900. So you copy this answer, okay, put to the second column. So how did I decide again? I said you don't jump queue. Now the currently occupied column is third column. If you want to move to the front, you can only go one step at a time. So currently, if you want to start a new step, it only can be on the second column. Okay, so it's after this inventory hour. As I try to calculate my berlian, then I have to move one step forward again. Now, the reason why berlian needs to move one step forward is because of this 13,800 comes with pulangan berlian. There are changes happening to the berlian. So if you need to deduct only from the berlian itself, of course, I have to group them somewhere else, okay? So my berlian moved to the front because of this step here, minus pulangan berlian. Okay, now we said the pulangan berlian is 830. We need to deduct out, right? And as of now, you will be struggling. Teacher, do my answer put on the first column here? Or can I already move back to the second column? Answer to ask yourself is, does the answer here have anything else to do later? Do you have Audi or not? Any one of the Audi also can. You do have, right? Remember this? Insurance atas berlian. Now, if you do have an insurance atas berlian, this will make the berlian's expenses increase a little bit. So that's why, as I take 13,800 deducted by 830, I will still rename the answer temporarily on the first column, calling it the berlian bersih, before we proceed to add on insurance atas berlian. Okay, now once again, if you're getting confused on when to plus, when to minus, let me remind you, the entire section now here are considered belanja. If it's something that is similar to expenses as well, it will be increased. If it makes the belanja lesser, it will decrease. Okay, so actually we don't really minus a lot. We only minus the pulangan belian and the inventory RQ because those are the amount of products we didn't get to sell. But if it's insurance, it's an expense. We have to increase on top of it. Okay, so insurance atas belian to be paid is 1280. Sorry, 1280. Okay, so you see now, checkpoint. This is your burger patty. This is the vegetable. Okay, no tomato, no cheese, just vegetable, one layer. Okay, so we got it already on the first column. It's time now that we assemble them to go with the bun. So the answer will go back to the second column where you add together, becomes 14250. Now we should have a name for the 14250. What is this amount considered? It's only belian itself, right? So this section, we will call it the cost belian. In English, we said it's a cost of purchase to buy new products. What are your total costs? Okay, and now, can you see the old and the new stocks have finally met with each other? So we will combine the old and the new to get the total. And that total, we will call it the cost as well, but it's called barang untuk dijual. Isn't it true? Because I said I take the old and the new together. Those are the items I can sell. But did I manage to sell them? No. That's why we have to do one more step where you deduct your inventory RQ. But now just combine first, yeah? Add together with the 1009. Total cost we have spent so far on all of the products is 16150. But in the end, we still did not manage to sell 2350 of them away. So that's why if we didn't get to sell them, please remove it from the cost. Tolak inventory RQ. Okay, now by the way, guys, I'm just saying first, yeah, those bracket that I put beside of the for the negative and the positive, right, it's not necessary one, but I think it's more obvious if I do this, you can see clearer. Now, if you don't want to put the bracket, you could just put minus, plus. But some school teachers will require you to write tolak tambah. So if you see them asking for that, then you better follow your school teacher. Okay, right. So once we have minus the inventory RQ, you see, your burger is already fulfilled. Right, the buns are in. We also have the content in the middle already. The cost jalan is ready. We will serve it to the third column. Okay, so now 16150 minus 2350. Here, 13,800 is what we considered the cost jualan. Okay, so you can note down how you get cost barang untuk dijual is when you take the inventory awal added with any stage of the belian. You see, it can be just belian itself. It can also be when it's cost belian. So whenever the inventory awal is involved, then it will become cost barang untuk dijual. Okay, so then now the cost jalan, what is it supposed to do? Remember your title earlier? You said it's supposed to be ditolakkan daripada jualan per se. So please add a bracket on your to tell them that this is meant to be minus of. So now we have gotten jualan tolak cost jualan. Can you earn money from this stage? Say yes, because your sales is 27,000, right? 27830. If we deduct 13,800 total, we will still earn 14,030. And this is what we call the untung kasar. You are telling your boss that this is only partial of it. Can you really earn in the end? I cannot really tell because now we still have to go on further with what? Tambah hasil tolak belanja. But as of now, if you are able to manage until this point, I think it's smooth for the following parts already, okay? So you just need to make sure you practice a lot on this section because they will change sometimes when it comes to the Audi, okay? Right. What happens if I place the price wrongly at the 3 columns? Actually, they will deduct your marks because the format is wrong. Okay, none of the place can change. Whatever I show you here is fixed. Unless, okay, unless I'm telling you that your format is this means no Audi, no pulangan berlian. Okay, you see, there will be 3 columns, right? If there is no pulangan, no Audi, then your inventory hour and the berlian can go directly together. Why? Because I got no other numbers to adjust for my berlian already, correct? So berlian itself represents its own, which is a cost berlian, and that is when you will get your answer as cost barang untuk dijual. Can you understand? So actually, right, the first column, is it always must be used? No, it really depends on whether your berlian has any calculation or not. If your berlian got no changes at all, there is no need for me to go to the first column, right? I could just put it on the second column to group with the old stocks together. So I'm just telling you, there are chances for you to not use the first column. If there is no pulangan, there's no Audi. No point for me to go there. But the moment there is pulangan, there is Audi at least, then I will have to put on the first column already. Okay? So I give you the possibility, but the rest you cannot put wrong places. Only the berlian might have changes, but the rest all is fixed. Okay? Jalan must be here, cost jalan must come back to here. Okay, right. So now we move on to the bottom where you start to plus with hasil minus belanja. Is it guaranteed that we must have hasil? No, because for the bottom section, guys, hasil is side income. Not every business will have side income. So if I have no hasil additional, then we can straight away tolak dengan belanja. But for this question, we do have it, okay? You see, we have taken everything that is related to account perdagangan already. So my technique is like this. You guys have probably memorized your asset, liability, and EP, which in case you guys are not sure yet, what's asset, what's liability, and what's EP? I forgot already, teacher. You can actually revise based on page 7. Okay, I give you the full list here. So you can remember by asset, liability dengan EP. Belanja and hasil usually don't memorize because the types are so many. It's very hard to memorize every single one of them. Now, of course, we do have some common ones like gaji, kada bayaran, sewa. Those you can recognize, then you just put lor. But if you couldn't, then you go by the asset, liability, and EP first. So you see, model. This one here, we don't have to write the date later. Just go by model hour. This is an EP. Okay, continue. Account belum terima. Asset semasuk. Account belum bayar. Liability semasuk. Okay, now the entire section 2 here is done for already. So skip them, come to the next section. Now, do you see any asset, liability, or EP? Guys, none of them are assets, liability, or EP. So skip and you go to the last 2 sections. Lengkapan is ABS. Perabot as well. Tunai AS. Ambilan is negative EP. Bank AS. Pinjaman bank is LBS. Now, once you already identify all of the assets and the liability EP available in the question, whatever left must be belanja. Otherwise, then it's hasil. So how can you tell if it's hasil or belanja? Very obvious one. The moment it comes with diterima, hasil. So this is where we label as H. So for the rest of them, bayaran, of course, it's belanja lah. Now, what's a kada bayaran, by the way? Kada bayaran includes all the bill, electric, air, telephone. So all the utility bills are basically, guys, okay? So it's considered kada bayaran. Alat tulis as well, considered as an expense because you purchase stationeries. You have to spend money buying them, right? Sewa is rental. And this one, faedah is interest rate. But how we know if the interest is good or bad? Because of the word pinjaman bank, okay? You are getting a loan from the bank. Of course, the bank charges you for interest. So this is a bad faedah. And there is good faedah lah. If it's a faedah simpanan tetap, then it's a good one, okay? Then gaji belanja as well. Okay, now once you all have finished labeling, can you all see that the hasil only has 1? So what happens now is that according to my format in page number 9, hasil shown is given 2. So when I have 2, I have to group it, right? Correct, guys? When I have 2, I have to group it. But if I only have 1, do I still have to group it? Let's say I have only 1 commission. I put the 1,009 here. Then I write again 1,009 here. Do you guys think there's a point to it? No. So whenever your hasil only appears to have 1, you do not need to move in front. No need for that. Your hasil can now straight away be written into the third column. We will do this. Tambah hasil. Draw a line because it's a title. Commission diterima. Okay, what's the answer? In the list, commission is 800. You bring this answer directly to the third column, where you can straight away add with untung kasar. Because the whole point of it is I want untung kasar to plus with hasil. But the reason we put in the second column is due to what? When I have multiple hasil, multiple extra income, then of course I need to tell my boss that, oh, this year you have 2 to 3 side incomes, and they are total to this much. But if I only have 1, then this is already representing the total. So you remember, we only put at the third column because there are no calculations. If you have 2 or more, can you go to the third column? Never. It's always on the second. Every time you need to group them separately, you go in front and never to the first. Why? In that way, you are skipping queue already. You will fall down the stairs, okay? So you make sure when you are walking down the stairs, you go by step. Is there any necessary is it necessary for us to go to the first column at all? No. That's why from the third, maximum you can come is the second column. But now only 1 number, then no need. Okay, so add together as of now, your income is 14830. Is this income going to be able for us to pay the belanja and still have leftovers? Who knows? If there's no more leftovers becoming negative, your business are now in kerugian. Okay, so we will carry on the next row. Minus belanja. Now, do not rush to write the numbers. Put the names first, okay? So, belanja that we have. Hada bayaran, alat tulis, sewa, faedah pinjaman. Okay, I copy this 4 first. Hada bayaran, alat tulis, sewa, faedah pinjaman bank. Okay, and the last one is at the last of the list, gaji. Okay, now, what's the reason of us writing the names first? Because I'm trying to let you know that your belanja does not have only 1. You have more than 1, correct? So when there is more than 1, should I tell my boss how much is the extra belanja? Yes. So in order to find the belanja itself only, without having the 14,000 involved, I will group them at the second column. Okay, I will move 1 column to the front. So we will put all the numbers to the second column. Okay, kada bayaran 2190. Alat tulis 900. Alat tulis is 900. Sewa is 4,800. Faedah pinjaman bank 500. And gaji 18,000. Okay, so I would say it's a bad news now because only with the gaji, 18,000 is already way more than your upper income. Okay, so you're expecting a kerugian here already. But it's okay, let's just do it for the boss first. Combine all of the belanja together to show him what is the extra expenses right now. Total of the extra expenses that is not included with the barang niaga is 26,390. Now, why do we put the bracket there? Because we are about to show them the minus process, okay? So I'm going to take the 14,830 minus the 26,390, and to find your boss, negative 11,560. So this answer, we will consider it as rugi bersih. Okay, you are done with part A of the question. So this is total to how many marks? Let me see. It's gonna be 15 marks for your question 4 here. Okay, and now if you want to proceed for your bahagian B, which is the part B PKK, right? You make sure to bring this answer, rugi bersih, back into your kertas soalan so you are aware of it. Why? Because this 11560 will affect the equity per minute. I want you to find a spot and write it there. As you put it here into the list, you don't need to show negative anymore because all you need to do is label them in a negative EP form. So later when you're doing PKK, you would be aware that your EP section comes with three things, beginning with model awal, having to minus rugi bersih from your part A outcome, and also to minus ambilan to find model APUR. Okay, right. So the PKK part, right, I would just say that you all can refer to the format on page 10 to try doing it because this part here, right, you guys can ignore the section up here. Because as of now, right, your chapter does not have S&T nilai buku yet. Okay, so this part only appears in BAB 8. So as of now, right, you don't worry about this thing. You refer to only how you place the columns for your ABS and AS. So they will only use 3 columns. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is later as you do your PKK. In page 29, you make sure the 3 columns works the same way as per your APUR as well. So you start from the 3rd column, move to the 2nd, move to the 1st. So who will use the 3rd column? Your ABS will use the 3rd column because they are 1st group. 2nd group is your asset semasa, and 3rd group is liability semasa. Okay, so finish already, then your EP will use the 3rd group, your LBS will use the 3rd group. Okay, so you can try first. The answers are all given in the Google Drive already in our website. So you can refer to that once you finish. Okay, so as of now, I will stop until page 28. Okay, yeah? I'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye. No problem. See you. Bye-bye, bye-bye.